We're holding now Daf Dalet Amud Aleph. We're holding by Ube'edim Yehuzah Kafran. So the last thing we said is that in a case where his denial is contradicted by two witnesses, so he's Yehuzah Kafran.
Look at it, and I'll hear it like it's dead to you. So without any sense, that was something you learning.
It's a little of a sugya, but so I'll try to explain the best case. So now the question says this: Ube'edim Yehuzah Kafran, and in a case where his denial is contradicted by two witnesses, does he assume the chazaka of one who falsely denies debt and can't trust him? He says, a person who denies a claim that he received a loan and he's contradicted by witnesses, so the halacha is kosher eidus. He is fit to be a eid. He does not have a chazaka that he's shakran, because perhaps he really intended to return the money afterwards, and the reason why he denied the claim only is in order to buy himself time until he acquired the necessary funds to repay the halva. So therefore he's kosher. Therefore he's kosher leidus. Bipikodan. Now, if one denies receiving, let's say, a pikodan, a deposit, and then witnesses testify that he's lying, so then pasal leidus, he is disqualified from bearing witnesses in other cases. Why? As in that case, he has no reason to buy time. Over here. So he's clearly a ganab. So therefore, Rabbi Chizd's Kal V'chemer stands, as we said by Eidim Yehuzah Kafran, but there's a difference between Akei from Milva and Bivikodan. So the Mar says like this:
accumulate the money he's about to pay.
Exactly. Rather, say like this: what is the common denominator? In other words, the common denominator shared by a person who was a made of mitzvahs, and a gilgul shvua is that these are not subject to the halachas of hazama, conspiring witnesses. In other words, even if the witnesses testify that a single witness lied, he's not required to pay the defendant the sum that he sought to require to pay, which is a punishment by Eidim Zeman. When you say the same halacha with regards to two witnesses who are subject to the halachas of witnesses, the Mercer says like kasha. It's not a question. Rabbi Chia does not refute the thing about Teres Hazama. Rabbi Chia does not accept this pircha, as well. This halacha does not apply to all the admissions of the defendant. It does apply to the testimony of a Eid Echad, that if two witnesses testify that the single witnesses is a Eidim Zemim, his testimony is void. So the Gemara asks, but with regard to which was said before in Daf Gimel and Aleph, and the Tana, the Mishnah also taught a similar halacha of that Rabbi Chia, there's a big shayla. Why? The case of the Mishnah comparable to the halacha of Rabbi Chia. There, in the case of witnesses to halva, also the Malva Isli Sadi, there the Malva has witnesses to support his claim that there was a loan. And the Leva does not have witnesses to support his claim that he does not owe the creditor anything. As if the Leva had witnesses to support his claim, he doesn't owe the Malva anything. Here we're not requiring him to take a shvuah. But here, in the case of the Mishnah, just as it's clear to us that this guy who says that Kula Shali, that the garment is fully here, is holding it, it's clear to us that the other guy who says Kula Shali is also holding it. And nevertheless, what do we see from our Mishnah? The Mishnah, each party is required to take a oath. So the Gemara says, done. So when he says in the Tana of the Mishnah, thought is Aidach the Rabbi Chia. It's another halacha of Rabbi Chia. Rabbi Chia Monday biyad dafa biyad chavalayim and the biyad the yelach hamishim zuz behelech. So let's see. So if a person says you owe me $100, the guy says you have $100 on me. So he says I don't have any. He uses the lashon ein the biyad the yelach hamishim zuz and here and take it. So halacha is chayiv. He's obligated to take a shvuah that he doesn't owe the remainder. Why time? Why? Because helach nami can make the mitzvah satayna dami. Because while immediately giving the money is also considered like a person who's a meidav mitzvah, and a meidav mitzvah that has to swear. Now, so therefore, it cannot be reasoned that by immediately handing over the amount to which he admits, the defendant thereby reduces the claim of the 50 dinars that he denies owing, and therefore he's a kafir hakil. We don't say that. Concerning the halacha of Rabbi Chia, the Gemara says, and the Tana of our Mishnah says, so two people come to Beis Din holding a talus. And here, in the case of the Mishnah, kiva the toughest, since each person grasped half of the garment on outside, the toughest heidafu. It's clear to us that when he grasps in his possession, he's basically saying, here you are, I'm giving it to you. And Uktani, and what does the Mishnah say? Yeshava. So in a case where one denies part of a claim that is brought against him, and with regard to the rest of the claim, he says to the other guy, Heilach. So we see from our Mishnah that he is obligated to take a shua. So the Gemara says, "Rav Sheshes Amar Heilach Pater my time." But why does Rav Sheshes say Heilach is Pater? Actually, he says,
"Why get that?"
It's Pater from a shua.
Mishnah says,
No, we're talking about a case of he says one lead the guy says. Elech abiyadi elach hamishim vehelach. So Rav Sheshes says it's pater. Why? Why is it not meidav mitzvah? He says meidav mitzvah normally helach, because once the guy says, "Here you are," hani zuzi the komeidav begavayu, those dinners that he admitted to owing, are considered as if the creditor had them in the possession already. And with regard to the other 50 dinners, the defendant did not admit to owing them. So there's no admission of part of the claim. Rather than the model of Sheshes, like you asked, the Mishnah is difficulty, as it seems to compare overall the case of Halef to our Mishnah, which is the Chai B'Shua. From the Chod of Sheshes tells him, the Mishnah is the Takan Sachamim, which pertains specifically to that case. In general, a Leva who immediately hands over the money that he admits to owing, he is pater from Shvua. It's not considered a meidav mitzvah. And how would the other Amin and Rabbi respond to this? He says, "In takanas chachami." Yes, indeed, it is takanas chachami. Umiu, however, iyamish b'shlomo midiraisa heilach chayiv. Granted, if you say that midiraisa, one who says, "Here you are," is obligated to take a shvua, attacking that bonus shvua kein diraisa. So it will come out that the chachamim instituted an oath mentioned in the Mishnah similar to the oath mentioned by Tedolah. The yamis midiraisa heilach pater. But if you say that midiraisa heilach is pater, metaglin and abon shvua, let's go the kavasa midiraisa is the chachamim instituting a shvua that has no corresponding din. There's no mocker in Tedolah. So clearly, there's a basis for the oath instituted by the chachamim based on the Tedolah. What is that? The stafki in the case of heilach. Where it says meisvei, there is a shalat to the opinion of Chia from the Brisa. What does the Brisa say? If it's written in a note that one borrowed in a slime, an unspecified amount of slime, dinorim, or that one borrowed an unspecified amount of dinars. Malva Omar Imer Chomish. Now the Malva says, I lent you 5 salat, Beleva Imer Shalish. And the Leipa says, no, it was only 3. Shimon Lozer Imer, Shimon Lozer says, since the Malva admitted the part of the claim, Yeshava, yes, they Yeshua, made the mitzvahs. Rabbi Kiva says he is only like one returning a lost item and pater. Now, why? Because since the wording of the note only indicates that he owes 2 dinars, right? It says slime, which is a minimal plural amount. So by admitting he owes 3, he's basically being. It says slime. I could have said 2. I'm saying 3, so I'm being a Meshav Aveda. Meshav Aveda is pater, doesn't have to pay, doesn't have to take a shua. Now, telling me is that any event, what comes out from this price of Shimon Elazar Eber, Hayuva, the Mitzvah Zadaina, what does Shimon Elazar say? Since the Levi admitted to part of the claim, he takes an oath, Yishavi has to take a shua. Time of Omer Shalish, the reason that he's obligated to take a shua is specifically because he said that he owes 3 dinars. But if he admitted to only 2 dinars, pater, he pater from taking a shua. And concerning the minimum obligation recorded in the note, which he admits, which is 2 dinars, is as though he said, here you are, which is an obligation. Because we know an obligation recording in a note is so what do you see from there? You see from there that hey left is pater. MS, even if he admitted that he owes 2 dinners, he's obligated to the shvua. So why did the stress about 3? The example of Rabbi Akiva's opinion. Because Rabbi Akiva holds that a Meishav Aveda is Potter. So therefore, showing teaches that it's considered as a Meideh Mitzvah is obligated to take a shvua. If the Brisa, if so, the Brisa should have phrased differently. If the defendant is obligated to take an oath, even in the case where he admits that he owes 2 dinners, so rather than saying Rav Shimon Elazar Eimer Hayel Mitzvah Nani Shava, instead Rav Shimon is saying since the Levi admitted to part of the claim, he takes an oath. It should have said even this one who admits to only 3 dinners takes an oath, in addition to the one who admitting 2 dinners. Rather, the Gemara says no. Shtayim Potter. Actually, if he admits that he owes 2 dinners, he's Potter from taking an oath. Nevertheless, one who says here you are is chayiv. Shani Achar, the reason for this distinction is the as the note supports him. It indicates that he owes 2 dinners. Therefore, he's Potter from taking an oath with regard to the rest. Inami, another answer, because a note creates a lien on land. There's a principle that one does not take as shvua with regards to denial of a chayiv that's secured by lien of a land. Oaths are administered only when one denies owing money or metal. But are those who raise the shaila of Rav Shish's opinion from the later case of the Brisa. Kiva says, Kiva says he's only like a Meishav Aveda and he's Potter. So what's the reason why he's Potter? Is because he admits that he owes 3. And concerning the minimal obligation according to the note, is given the since to which he admits, which is 2 dinners, is he's saying, here you are. What is the information as Gemara says no. Leila Memelav Shtayim is Nami Potter. V'Hadik Nami Sholish is La Pugim Rabbi Shimon Elazar. The Amar Meidim Mitzvah Tana Habe, which V'Chayiv K'mashma, the Meishav Aveda teaches us that the Meishav Aveda who Potter. Alchanam Mistaber makes sense. They talk about that of Shtayim Chayiv is if you're going to say that the 2 dinners is obligated to take a shvua, B'Shalosh changing Potter Rabbi Akiva. How does Rabbi Akiva deem him exempt in a case where he admits that he owes 3 dinners? Rumi Kamarim. Perhaps the guy is playing sorry things. He says it is. If I say I owe 2, I'll be required to take an oath. So therefore, therefore I'll say that I owe 3. So I'll be considered a Meishav Aveda Potter. Shtayim Nami is Potter. But this explanation is a shot to Mechia, that the defendant is obligated to take a shvua in a case where he says Halech. In other words, Mechia's opinion is negated by the case of one who admits that he owes only 2 dinners, where he's Potter from taking a shvua. So I said Shani Hasan to come there's different as the note supports him. Therefore, he's not required to take a shvua. Inami, alternatively, he shouldn't have a because the note creates a lien on the land, and and we said the din is that one does not take an oath with regard to a leva's denial of a choyev that is secured by karka. Okay, Masi Marzutra Beit Reb Nachman, Marzutra son of Reb Nachman raised a shaila. The opinion of Rishishis from a Mishnah. One of the Mishnah say Ta'ana Kelim Karka is one claim, and another owed him vessels and land. So the defendant admitted to owing him kelim, but denied that he owes him land. Or he admitted to owing him land, but denied that he owes him kelim. If he admitted that he owes him part of the land, he was going to be potter. If he admitted to owing him some of the kelim, he's obligated to take an oath with regard to the remainder. So the Gemara learns from this. Time the kelim karkois. The reason he is potter in the first case is because the claim is for kelim and karkois. The karka la bashvui, as a claim with regards to land, is not subject to an oath. Or kelim doing the kelim karkois chayiv. But if the claim is for vessels and vessels, in other words, 2 sets of vessels, so then he would be chayiv. The Gemara says, what's the case? Must be lav dorm le'elach. It must be a case where he said to him, here you are. And what do we see from here? Shramina, helach is chayiv. Gemara says, no, le'elam imelav kelim and nami is potter. Why did the Mishnah teach case of vessels and land? Is Kamashman teaching me mitzvahs kelim? They teach me the din that if he admits to part of the kelim, chayav afar karkois. He's obligated to take an oath with regards to the land that he denied owing his Right. So the more friendly about Micah Mashal Zeking, and what is this teaching us? He's teaching me that we learned that by the case that we that the idea of binding, according to this halacha, one who's obligated to take a shvua in response to that thing can be required to take an oath with regards to the rights because of a gilgal shvua. So what are we zeking in? Tanina, we learned this the halacha zeking and the chasam shelem machayis and the chasam shelem machayis shav. You know, the din is that property that does not serve as a guarantee. In other words, metallically. Right. It buys the property that serves as a guarantee, the land, so that he is forced to take a shvua with regard to this all. So why is this halacha repeated again? Where it says, halacha ikar, there, the Mishnah here in Shavuos is the main halacha. Over there it discusses different oaths. Whereas Hassam, the Mishnah there in the Kedushin is Agav Gurad and Nasbo. Cites it incidentally. Talking, it's in the context of a broader survey of a difference between two types of property.
Man dan heel wat wij het appointment. Maybe that is a man.
It's a little bit more. The man dan melech pater, according to the Sheshis, who says that in the case where the Leva says, "Here you are," he's pater from shvua. So why was it necessary for the Torah to exclude a claim of land ownership from the Leva's obligation to take a shvua when he's made of mitzvahs? Every kaka is halach. So the answer of Sheish says it's a cry for the chafar by beis shichlamoris. In case the pasuk was necessary in a case where the Leva dug pits, ditches, and caves in the land that he's returning to the Teviyah. So since the land has been damaged and is no longer in its prior state, the defendant is not effectively saying halach. Inami, another answer, the ton of kelim karkois, where in case where one claimed that another owed him vessels and land, and the defendant admitted into the claim involving the kelim and denied the claim involving the land. But it teaches us that although the Leva denied part of the claim and did not say halach, he's not obligated to take an oath with regard to the karka. Yeah, this will stop here. Let's do one more thing. Tashma, come and bring a raya, a proof for a B'chiya's opinion. Taner Rabbi Rachama. Rabbi Rachama, Taner Rabbi Brisa. Abba Shem, Shich, Kfid, Mitzvahs, V'ed, Mitzvahs. All four types of Shemrim, mentioned the Torah, require denial of part of the claim and admission of part of the claim in order to be chayav shvua. Shem Rechinam Hashem is a son of Rasecher, which is the Shem Rechinam, who basically receives no payment in exchange for guarding. The borrower does not pay the owner in exchange for the right to use the item. You have the Sachar, who receives payment in exchange of safeguarding, and Vasecher, and the renter, who rents an item in order to use it and pays the owner for exchange. So the Gemara says, "Hey, Shidami, what are the circumstances in which the shamer both deny part of the claim and admit to part of the claim?" It must be a case where he says Halach. So the Gemara says, "Amarle." Rabbi Racham is referring to a case, for example, a case where Shalish Paris Masakti Lach Mesu Kulu B'Shia, where the depositor said to the shamer, "Chinam, I gave you 3 cows, and all died due to your pshia." And the shamer said that with regard to 1 cow, never happened. The other one he says died by accident. And the 1 taka was negligent, and that I have to pay you. In that case, although he admits that he's made him mixes, it's not a case of halech, and he's not returning the cow itself.
He has to say in short.